Imagine for a second trying to stuff, a 180-degree, moisture-spewing finished bathhouse into your carpeted spare bedroom.
Oh, man. Yeah, that is a structural nightmare right there.
Right. I mean, you're probably picturing warped drywall, blown electrical panels, a team of contractors tracking mud through your hallway, and, well, a budget that looks like a down payment on a car.
Exactly. It's just not practical for most people.
But what if the sauna didn't actually need to heat the room? What if it only needed to heat you?
Which completely changes the game.
It really does. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are looking at the modern at-home wellness boom by zeroing in on one very specific piece of tech, which is the Hongyuan 2-person infrared sauna.
Yeah, and we are basing today's analysis on a highly practical set of sources. We have a comprehensive review that basically strips away all the manufacturer's marketing gloss.
Which we love. No fluff.
Exactly, no fluff. It pairs the raw engineering specs with the unvarnished real-world experiences of over 200 verified buyers who have, actually lived with this unit in their own homes.
So our mission today is straightforward. We're going to find out if this specific wellness cabinet, which is sold primarily on Wayfair, is actually worth the investment for your space, your budget, and your daily routine. Okay, let's unpack this, because the central premise of this product is that it bypasses all those traditional construction hurdles we just talked about.
Right.
It claims you can have a spa-level deep tissue sweat session right in your living space without swinging a single hammer.
Yeah, and to understand how that's even physically possible, we really have to talk about the engine, because this is not, I repeat, not a traditional sauna.
Yeah, and that distinction is kind of the bedrock of everything we're looking at today.
What's fascinating here is that traditional saunas rely entirely on ambient heat. I mean, they heat the rocks heat the air, and then that superheated air eventually heats your skin.
It's so inefficient.
Highly inefficient. You need immense amounts of energy to push the ambient air temperature up to like 180 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. But the Hongyuan, it uses FAR infrared heat.
Yeah, and I always like to think of a traditional sauna as basically standing inside a convection oven. You're just baking in this wall of hot air.
That's a great way to put it.
But FR infrared is completely different. It's like stepping out of the shade and into a patch of really intense warm sunlight on a crisp day.
Right, because the air around you might not be sweltering, but that invisible light energy, it hits your body and heats you from the inside out.
Exactly. And the biological mechanism triggered by that specific wavelength of light is just, it's wild.
It really is. FR infrared heat waves actually penetrate directly into human tissue. They pass through the skin to a depth of up to 1.5 inches.
Wait, an inch and a half? Just directly into your muscles?
Yes, directly into the tissue. So instead of your body fighting off scorching ambient air, this deep tissue penetration directly stimulates vasodilation, which is the widening of your blood vessels.
Okay, so that increases your heart rate.
Exactly. It forces a profound, highly detoxifying sweat at just a fraction of the traditional temperature.
And the numbers on that temperature drop are, they're staggering. The operating range for the Hongyuan sits between like 118 degrees and 132 degrees. And it maxes out at an absolute ceiling of 140.
Which is so much more manageable.
Right. When you drop the ambient temperature by 40 or 50 degrees, you completely eliminate that suffocating, hard to breathe sensation that makes so many people absolutely hate traditional saunas.
It fundamentally changes the accessibility of the therapy. Because you're actually comfortable, you can sit in the unit longer. And sustained exposure is really where the physiological benefits compound.
Yeah, the sources point to accelerated muscle recovery after workouts, significant reductions in joint stiffness, improved baseline circulation, and overall cardiovascular support.
But I do need to jump in here with a non-negotiable caveat for you listening. While those benefits are incredibly well documented, and the science behind direct tissue heating is robust.
Super robust, yeah.
If you are managing any underlying health conditions, you absolutely must have a conversation with your doctor before introducing deep cardiovascular heat stress into your weekly routine.
Such a vital safety protocol. Because even though the air is cooler, your heart is still working really hard to pump blood to the surface of your skin to cool you down. It is a genuine cardiovascular workout.
It really is. So, okay, we understand the biology of the heat. But to deliver that direct heat, you're literally enclosing your body in a wooden box surrounded by electrical panels.
Yeah, which sounds a little sci-fi.
A little bit, yeah. So we have to talk about the physical build quality, starting with the invisible static those panels generate.
Right, you're referring to EMF, or electromagnetic fields.
Exactly. Whenever you run electricity through a resistance heater, it generates an electromagnetic field. Think of it like the invisible charged static you used to feel when you put your arm near an old tube television.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Right. At a distance, it's largely negligible. But in an infrared sauna, your bare skin is inches away from the active heating elements for, 45 minutes at a time.
The high EMF exposure is obviously one of the primary concerns for informed buyers.
Absolutely. And the engineering on the Hongyuan actually tackles this head-on. The unit utilizes 6 low-EMF carbon panel heaters, and the specific rating here is a 6.
Okay, to give you some context on why a rating of 6 matters, some of the cheaper, generic heating panels floating around the market can measure well over 100 milligauss directly at the source.
Yeah, over 100 is yikes.
Yeah, so sitting at a rating of 6 puts you safely in the premium consumer-grade threshold.
And the choice of carbon over ceramic for those panels is equally deliberate. I mean, ceramic heaters get incredibly hot very fast, but they're highly localized, like little glowing rods.
Exactly, which creates intense hot spots. If your shoulder is too close to a ceramic heater, it feels like your skin is actually singeing.
Ouch.
Yeah. Carbon panels, conversely, are these large, flat sheets. They distribute the heat over a much wider surface area, so it wraps you in this gentle, even wave of thermal energy rather than, blasting you from a single point.
Sounds so much better. Let's look at what is holding those carbon panels together, though, because the cabinet itself is built from 100% Canadian hemlock with African Okoume wood used for the finish.
Right.
And that isn't just an aesthetic choice, is it?
Not at all. Canadian hemlock is functionally brilliant for this specific application, because when you rapidly heat and cool an enclosed space, and, let's be real, introduce a lot of human sweat.
Lots of sweat.
Standard composite woods or cheap pines will buckle, warp, and eventually rot. But hemlock is highly valued because it possesses the structural integrity to withstand all that relentless thermal expansion and contraction.
And crucially, it's naturally resistant to moisture, mold, and mildew. Exactly.
Okay, I buy the engineering on the wood and the panels. That makes sense. But I do have to push back on some of the extra tech they stuffed into this unit.
Okay, let's hear it.
It comes with a built-in Bluetooth speaker system. And I am highly skeptical that an integrated speaker sitting inside a brutally hot, fluctuating, humid wooden box is actually going to sound like anything other than like a blown-out drive-through microphone.
That is a very fair point.
Right. I mean, is this just a cheap gimmick to make the feature list look longer?
I had the exact same suspicion when looking at the spec sheet. Yet, when we cross-reference that feature with the verified buyer data, the audio quality consistently emerges as a highlight.
Really?
Yeah. Multiple users specifically describe the speakers as a, quote, pleasant surprise that significantly outperforms the mid-range price point of the sauna.
Wow, okay. I'd stand corrected.
It connects seamlessly to your phone, so it allows you to run podcasts, curated playlists, or guided meditations without bringing your actual device into the 130-degree heat, which you definitely don't want to do.
No, do not cook your phone. And they also throw in an interior-controlled 5-color LED chromotherapy lighting system.
Right, chromotherapy.
Which is the therapeutic use of specific wavelengths of colored light. That's usually something you only see as a premium upcharge at a really high-end commercial spa.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the design philosophy of the Hongyuan becomes incredibly clear. The Canadian hemlock, the low EMF rating, and the carbon panels, they're doing all the heavy lifting for your physical environment. They manage the heat and the bodily recovery.
Yeah.
But the chromotherapy and the Bluetooth audio, they are engineering your mental environment.
I like that.
Shifting the interior light to a calming blue or a warm amber while playing a meditation track, it creates this distinct psychological break from the fluorescent lighting of your office or, just the chaos of your house.
A completely controlled, multi-sensory environment. It sounds amazing. But a beautifully engineered hemlock cabinet does not do you any good if you need a structural engineer to get it through your front door.
Very true.
Which brings us to the biggest barrier to home wellness, which is the installation. Let's look at the practical reality of ownership here.
The single most impressive logistical feat of this unit is actually its power draw. The Hongyuan runs on a standard 120-volt, 15-amp household outlet. It draws exactly 1,730 watts.
And that specific number, 1,730 watts, is honestly a stroke of brilliant engineering.
It really is.
Because a standard North America 15-amp wall outlet maxes out at roughly 1,800 watts before the breaker flips.
Right.
So by designing this unit to draw exactly 1,730, they have pushed the heating power right to the absolute limit of a standard living room wall plug without crossing the threshold.
You literally just plug it in like a mini fridge.
Exactly. No dedicated circuits, no electricians. The only catch is that you probably shouldn't run a heavy-duty vacuum cleaner on that exact same circuit while the sauna is heating up.
Yeah, don't do that. You'll definitely trip a breaker. But that plug-and-play electrical design is backed by independent safety verifications, too. It holds both ETL and SGS North America certifications.
Which gives a lot of peace of mind. And that friction-free design extends to the physical assembly as well.
Oh, yeah.
I love how they solve the construction problem. It uses a tool-free clasp system. It is basically adult Legos.
Adult Legos, yes.
The heavy wooden walls just slot together and clasp shut. You don't need a drill. You don't need to align screws perfectly, and you certainly don't need to hire a handyman.
The source estimates 2 people can snap it together in 30 to 60 minutes.
There is even a review from a buyer whose teenager assembled the entire cabinet in 20 minutes once the pieces were unpacked.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
But there is a profound irony in the delivery process, however.
Oh my gosh, yes.
While the sauna itself requires 0 tools to assemble, it arrives at your house sealed inside a heavy-duty wooden shipping crate.
That is the funniest detail in the entire source document. You buy this premium product designed to lower your blood pressure and relieve your daily stress. But before you can use it, you have to go into your garage, grab a heavy metal pry bar, and do battle with a literal fortress of industrial shipping wood.
Yeah, your heart rate is going to spike before you ever even plug the sauna in.
Definitely.
Just consider it the warm-up routine before your first recovery session. But moving beyond the delivery hurdles, we do need to critically examine the physical limitations of the design.
Because it's not perfect.
No, nothing is. This raises an important question regarding marketing versus reality. The most frequent point of friction in the source material revolves around the physical geometry of the space.
Yes, the quote-unquote two-person label. We have to be brutally honest with you about what that means.
We do.
A manufacturer's definition of two-person capacity simply dictates that the physical volume of 2 average adult human bodies can technically be enclosed inside the doors.
Technically being the key word there.
Right. It does not mean 2 adults can stretch their legs out, lean back, and enjoy a luxurious, unbothered spa session. If 2 of you are in there, you are sitting rigidly upright, shoulder to shoulder, trying very hard not to rub sweaty arms against each other.
It really forces a decision about how you intend to use the space. Furthermore, the unit does not include an ionizer fan for active air purification, which some users prefer in enclosed heated spaces.
True.
It also ships entirely bare bones regarding accessories.
Yeah, if you want a wooden hook to hang your towel, an ergonomic backrest to keep you off the flat carbon panels, or like a tiny shelf to hold your water bottle, you have to purchase them all separately.
And buyers consistently report those specific branded add-ons feel a bit overpriced for what they actually are.
Totally. And while we are discussing the interior space, there is a severe maintenance protocol that every single buyer must understand.
Yes, this is crucial.
You clean the interior by simply wiping it down with a soft, dry cloth. Under absolutely no circumstances should you ever use chemical cleaning sprays inside the unit.
Never. Because this goes back to the Canadian hemlock we talked about earlier. Natural wood is highly porous.
Exactly. If you spray a harsh chemical cleaner or bleach on the walls, the wood drinks it right in. And the next time you turn the sauna on and push the interior to 130 degrees, the wood will boke those toxic chemical fumes directly out into the tight enclosed air you are deep breathing.
It's just a terrible idea. Natural wood requires natural care. Introducing synthetic toxins into a space designed specifically for biological detoxification entirely defeats the purpose of the machine.
So we've dissected the FAR infrared technology, the low EMF carbon panels, the genius electrical engineering, and the physical constraints of the cabin.
Right.
How does all of this hold up when it hits the real world? We have over 200 verified reviews from Wayfair to look at.
And the consensus is remarkably strong. Across 211 verified purchases, the Hongyuan maintains a 4.7 out of 5-star rating.
That's huge.
It really is. The narrative within those reviews paints a very clear picture of who thrives with this product.
Here's where it gets really interesting. When you isolate the glowing 5-star reviews, a distinct user profile emerges. Take a buyer named Amber, for instance.
Right. Okay, yeah.
She uses the unit religiously after every workout for muscle recovery. She notes her unit heats up in a brisk 30 minutes, and she specifically validates our earlier point. She says it physically fits 2 people, but she vastly prefers using it solo for the extra breathing room.
Yeah, we see that mirrored by Lisa, a buyer down in San Antonio, Texas. She awarded it 5 stars, praising the intense heat profile, confirming the surprising quality of the Bluetooth speakers, and noting that her unit gets blistering hot in just 30 minutes.
But then you look at a 4-star review from a buyer named Holly in Pine Grove, Pennsylvania, and a massive discrepancy appears.
Oh, this is a great point.
Holly notes that her unit takes closer to 50 minutes to hit 125 degrees. That is almost double the heat up time that Lisa in Texas reported.
Right.
So are the carbon panels inconsistent, or is something else happening here?
This reveals what we might call the thermodynamic reality of wellness tech. You're not just turning on a heater, you are creating an ecosystem that has to fight against its surrounding environment.
The room it's in.
Exactly. Look at the geography. Lisa is in San Antonio, Texas. If she installed her sauna in a garage or a spare room, the ambient starting temperature of that room might already be like 75 or 80 degrees.
So the sauna only has to bridge a 50-degree gap to reach maximum heat.
Spot on. While Holly is up in Pennsylvania, if she put that exact same sauna on the concrete floor of a drafty, uninsulated basement in the middle of January, the ambient air might be 40 degrees.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So the carbon panels have to work twice as hard for twice as long just to drag the heavy hemlock wood up to a baseline temperature before it even begins to heat the air inside.
The surrounded climate dictates the machine's performance. It is a brilliant reminder that when you buy a piece of environmental tech, you are integrating it into the unique microclimate of your own home.
Completely. And rounding out the reviews, we have David in Colorado, who loved the heat output and the build quality, but he actually docked a star purely out of frustration over the lack of included accessories, feeling nickel and dimed over a basic cup holder.
Which is a completely valid critique of the retail experience, even if the core technology performs flawlessly.
Absolutely.
So what does this all mean for you? Pulling together the biological benefits of FAR Infrared, the plug-and-play electrical design, the adult Lego assembly, and those thermodynamic realities of the cabinet, let's figure out exactly who this belongs to.
The ideal candidate is highly specific. This is engineered for a first-time home sauna buyer who wants to entirely bypass the nightmare of contractors and custom wiring.
Yeah, the renter or the average homeowner.
Right. It is fundamentally a solo user machine for someone who wants the luxury of space, with the mere option of occasionally inviting a second person inside.
If you are a fitness enthusiast looking to accelerate your post-workout recovery, or someone seeking daily cardiovascular heat therapy without suffocating in a 180-degree room, this fits the bill perfectly.
It really does.
Logistically, you just need a standard wall plug and a clear, dedicated indoor floor space of roughly 4 feet by 3 feet.
On the flip side, we can easily identify who should skip this model entirely.
Yes, let's talk about that.
If you are a couple intent on stretching out and using the sauna together every single day, the physical constraints will drive you crazy.
You'll be elbowing each other constantly.
Exactly. Furthermore, if your doctor or physical therapist has recommended full-spectrum infrared therapy, meaning a combination of near, mid, and far infrared wavelengths for targeted skin and tissue treatments, this unit will fall short, as it exclusively utilizes FAR infrared panels.
In terms of cost, the Hongyuan typically fluctuates between $800 and $1,200 on Wayfair, depending on seasonal sales.
Which is really reasonable.
Yeah. And shipping is surprisingly fast for a piece of architectural furniture, generally arriving in 1 to 2 weeks. It's backed by a 1-year limited warranty that covers the electrical systems, the carbon heaters, and the wood cabinetry, though you will definitely want to keep your receipt, as it naturally won't cover basic cosmetic wear and tear.
When you evaluate the landscape of home wellness, finding verified ETL safety certifications, low EMF carbon heating, and premium Hemlock construction at a mid-range price point is exceptionally rare.
It essentially democratizes a health practice that used to require a massive custom home budget. You don't need to hire an electrician, and you don't even need to own a screwdriver.
Just a pry bar for the crate.
Just the pry bar. But really, if you have an empty corner and a standard wall outlet, you can build a daily deep tissue recovery routine.
The barriers to entry have never been lower.
We want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Hongyuan two-person infrared sauna. If the low EMF heat, the multi-sensory environment, and the easy assembly sound like the perfect upgrade to your daily routine, you should absolutely check the current price, look out for those seasonal discounts, and buy the product using the link in the description below.
But before we sign off, consider this one final detail.
Don't lay it on me.
We established the vital safety rule of never using chemical cleaners because the porous Canadian hemlock will absorb them and release them as fumes when heated.
Right.
But that leaves us with a fascinating, lingering thought. If that beautifully engineered natural wood is constantly breathing in its environment, what else is it quietly absorbing from the ambient atmosphere of your home over the years?
Oh, wow.
Right. The subtle humidity of your specific region, the lingering scent of your morning coffee, the very air of your daily life. It makes you wonder how the wood might subtly adapt, shaping and personalizing the microclimate of your private wellness cabinet long after you first plug it in.
That is definitely something to think about the next time you step inside and close the glass door. Until next time, stay curious.
It has just begun as she puts her hand in mine.